how about you go ahead and start working on the left hand like you were just doing. Let's work on left hand, but let's try to keep it soft. And we're gonna work on like that, having it at the 80 beats per minute. So let's go ahead and start that. Awesome, good job. How about, so one of these, let's try to make sure like feet are straight. Let's make sure everything's kind of ready here. Wrists up as we're playing. Let's start now and work on the right hand, and we're gonna do the same thing, 80 beats per minute. And we're trying to make it soft, and we wanna make sure we do our diminuendo and our piano at the end, okay? We're gonna try something out like where we are gonna duet, and we're gonna try to have that with metronome too. So let's see. How about you work the right hand and I'll do the left hand, and we're gonna go with metronome here, and we're gonna count. We're gonna start on the accent. Start it right here real quick. It's okay. 2 and 3 and. Alright, good. There, cool. So how about now, let's start working on this one hands together. And we're not gonna worry about metronome just yet. Let's actually just do some hands together on it, and we're gonna try to follow our dynamic markings pretty closely. And you notice how we have like these are like some phrasing kind of marks right here. We go up in crescendo a little bit right here, and we get to like a little bit of a louder dynamic, and then we decrescendo right here. Let's try to observe those too, but we're gonna take it nice and slow since we're kind of starting to put hands together. So just whenever you're ready. No worries. How about, I know it's kind of like putting you on the spot here. How about just like take it slow and just let's make sure we can just get through, let's try to get through this line right here. left hand thirds right here. Notice how this is like a third. So like maybe using a little bit of like this light kind of touch, because we don't want this to end up being like, you know, that kind of sound. And then when we're doing our little phrasing, I'm gonna kind of go into it here. So it's kind of like the sections are kind of opening up a little, crescendoing and then decrescendoing. So we kind of want to observe that a little bit. It's just a nice little thing to do and to kind of observe that. Let's have so that's something to kind of work on a little bit right there. But good deal. I think what we could start working towards is getting a metronome number for doing the hands together. So let's just do something kind of slow to start off with. Like we won't do 80. Let's try to do, I don't know, 60. Let's see what 65 kind of sounds like. 2, 3, and 1. That one, and also we have our little phrasing right there too. So how about let's try 60, and don't worry about going past like measures 4 here. Let's just kind of deal with those and see how that's sounding. It's okay. Go ahead and you just start over. Awesome. Okay, so 60, we'll work on that and just take the time with it to kind of work out. I know this little part at the end of here, like just kind of be careful there with this. And another kind of thing to keep an eye on, and this is just like a tiny little thing to think about, is this little 8th note that's tied. So make sure that when you land it here, like let go of it, because I know it's easy to just like hold it into that rest. It's just a tiny little detail, and we'll just go ahead and kind of highlight that little rest. So just lift after that 8th tie right there. I'll go ahead and kind of dash through it to show it as a tie. Yeah, cool. Good job. And this one's nice because it's just a nice little kind of slow song and pretty straightforward. That's the cool thing about it. And then over here, just to kind of show a preview of this one. So Arietta is, it's kind of a fun little song. You'll notice it's in 3/8 time, and we're going to be playing it kind of keeping in mind that we're counting 8th notes. Does that make sense? So like we're counting these 1, 2, 3. And another thing to keep in mind is that this one has a voice that we're kind of like, we're going da, da, da. We're holding this down. So we go 1 and 2 and 3 and 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 1 and 2 and 3. So we're counting those 3s, you know, in each measure. And then it gets a little weird right here because we have like, this is kind of a 30-second note type of thing. But in 3/8 time, we're going to go, like, we're going to count it kind of like it's a 16th note, if that makes sense, because it's kind of like that in 3/8 because we're not counting 4, you know, like quarter notes. So, and then these are like 16ths, but they're going to be counted more like 8th notes. It's like these are quarters, so we go 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and. So this one, if you wanted to get started on like the right hand of this one, you could be working on just like holding this for the 1 and 2 and 3 and 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 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2. So this one's a tricky one to count. It's kind of like, it's almost like it'll start to sound good when it's hands together, kind of like that. But we could count it kind of like 1. So this would be like 1. And then E and 2 E and kind of like that. It's kind of tricky to count it. Let me see if I can find a pencil. So, but just for now, like think of this as 1, and then this would be your 2nd beat, and this would be your 3rd beat. And you notice how they line up right here. So you have 1 beat, obviously like right here. So it's like 1, 2, right, and then 3. and then 2 and a 3 and a, kind of like that, because we'll go ahead, since we have this tiny little dot, which is basically a fraction of this beat, so it's like this, the equivalent of this 32nd note. I know that's crazy. So it's like 2 and 3 and I don't know if that kind of makes sense. 1 and 2 and 3 and. So that's a good way to start looking at that one and kind of counting it out. But I would work on the right hand, like through here and here. Kind of same thing here. This has a little, you've probably seen these before, right? The little, that's a grace note. That one's like, that one is that note that has the slash through it. So it's an acciaccatura. It's like a short, really short one. It goes, oh my god, like that. So that's another little kind of goofy thing to kind of do. But if you notice here, this and this, see how these are the same exact rhythms though? So we got 1 and 2 and 3 and for that one as well. So you can kind of count that out. 1 and 2 and 3 and notice these are kind of like, they go along with it. 1 and 2 and 3 and. So there you go. Cool. So we'll go ahead and move on to, we'll go ahead and get into your solfeggiato, if that's okay with you. So let's see. How's it going with that one, by the way? Is it like going pretty well?
Yeah, it's going good, except for the last page.
Oh gosh, yeah, that last page. Let's see. Alright, so how about I go ahead and try, what do you want to start with first on this one? What do you want to do? Do you want to kind of dive right into last page or kind of run through this one?
Run through the first.
Okay, sounds good. How about, let me look over here. How about we do,